Hey everyone, how's it going? Remember the Trifox MFM 100 that I showed you not too long ago? Well, I have it here on the trails. I'm going to try three different things with it. One, how good it is going uphill, technical climbing. Two, how good it is in technical cross-country trail riding. And three would be how good it is going downhill. How fast can I go? So let's check this out. The first thing I'm going to try to do is take this baby on a climb that's quite technical, quite a few switchbacks, and I'm just curious if this is going to feel more like a cross-country bike or like more of a trail bike. Okay, so here's the rooty section of the trail. My first impressions are at the rear end, it's pretty tight. I don't feel a lot of a wobble. I feel more like being on a hardtail or a softtail. Still have 115 millimeters of travel in the back, but it doesn't feel that plush. All right, let's see this. Whew. Okay. All right. That's a good sign because I've been through there with many bikes. Some of them I really struggled. Not with this. I have my shock in fully open position. Doesn't feel like it robs me of power. However, it definitely gives me more traction here on these routes.
This other climb is pretty much a straight up with a lot of rocks. An area where I definitely appreciated climbing on a full suspension bike. But I found myself quite a few times being at the tip of the saddle. Obviously that slacker C-tube angle doesn't help, but there is an easy fix for it, and that's usually sliding the saddle forward on its ribs.
How does this perform on a normal trail? Well, I felt comfortable on it right from the get-go.
This is a medium frame and I built it with 44 millimeter offset fork. It corners pretty well and it's pretty stable, as you can see it here on the skinny. As you increase the speed, the bike still likes to turn with the handlebars as you don't have such a slack head tube angle. However, it just feels stable, well balanced. And overall it's pretty playful, but it does feel like an XC or cross-country bike. This other trail starts pretty flat, however there's a lot of little obstacles hidden underneath the leaves. There's a lot of short, quick left, right, and then followed by a little rock garden right over here. There is another one down at the bottom. I had to move the bike quickly underneath me and just push it around. I had no problems, actually I kind of enjoyed it. Bike performed wonderfully. And when it was time to take a little breather, where else to go than the top of the ski hill? The views from here are spectacular, definitely when you're getting close to the sunset. I mean, take a look at this.
Not bad at all. Wow.
My last trail-like test is here on these massive roots and quite a few rocks. I usually do it to see how the rear end performs with those bigger hits, and with that medium tune shock, this Trifox absorbs the obstacles pretty well. You do feel that you have only 115 millimeter travel though, as this is nowhere close to something like the mullet bike that I tested not too long ago.
I'm 5'10", so in between sizes, you would say. This is the 17.5. Scott calls this a medium. I am on a medium with a 50 mil stem, 760 bar, and this fits me very similar to my Yeti Arc. So definitely not on the long side, but pretty much what I would expect from a cross-country-ish bike for myself. Now, with everything that I've said, I hope you're not expecting this to behave like a downhill bike when pointing down. It does behave like a downcountry 29er though. So 120 millimeter front, 115 millimeter rear. You gotta be careful when choosing the lines. Bike is not gonna plow through everything like a longer travel would. On a downhill section like this, as the speed goes up, it's not twitchy, but again, you're gonna feel the vibrations from the trail getting into your body way more than if you were riding a heavier bike. As we're getting into digger downhill, that little hop, a couple of whoopsies, and then after the short pedaling section, we're pointing down again. You have a couple of tight berms ahead. You have this little step down in between the trees. This is usually super fast and super fun. I always take the new bikes that I'm testing on this downhill trail. Off the brakes again, I am heading towards these little jumps that would destabilize a bike that is not that well balanced. This Trifox wasn't twitchy in any way, and I really like how that suspension works. The SID 120 up front and that 115 RockShox in the back are a very good match for this frame. Here at the bottom, a couple of twisty turns, berm corners that are pretty loose. This is the area where I wish I had a bit more aggressive front tire, if nothing else. So how's the downhill performance? I would say as expected for a downcountry bike, no surprises there. I went into this project with no expectations whatsoever, and guess what? It turned out better than I thought. Obviously, I cannot talk about the long-term reliability of this bike, but I can tell you that the RockShox Deluxe Ultimate Rear Shock medium tune, coupled with that 35mm SID 120 up front, makes this a really good light trail bike or cross-country bike if that's what you're after. So what do you guys think? Would this be an interesting winter project for you? Do you have any questions for me in regards to the ride, the bike, the Trifox frame? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps my channel. And until next time, hope to see you folks on the trails. Cheers, guys. Cheers.